The newly aired Pokémon Horizons episode 140, titled Bread Mini Nidothing, what a title by the way, it was certainly something. The sheer aura of Mini Nidothing may not have made much noise in our world, but in the Pokemon world, this little guy broke the internet, dude. Sadly, that's probably the best thing I can say about this episode though. Be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy, and now let's dive into my review. In the episode, Nidothing is doing a live stream with Ditto watching, but when Tinkaton gets tangled, Nidothing has to go off screen to help her, so little Ditto turns into Mini Nidothing and takes her place in the live stream. Unfortunately, that leads to disaster though. First of all, Mini Nidothing is the cutest thing I've ever seen in my life. I want to see Mini Ditto versions of everything ever from now on. So small and squishy. And the funniest thing of all time is that even the title card has a Mini Ditto Skeledirge too. Man, this Ditto is already making for the sweetest, most hilarious shenanigans ever. I really hope the next few episodes see it replacing Meowscarada and Quaquaval in the title cards too. So the premise of the episode seems to be that Ditto keeps trying to help around the airship by transforming into items that people need, like a screw, a pill jar, a whisk, a glass of water. That's a glass of water to any non-Brits. Our heroes think that Ditto is just pulling pranks on everyone, but I'm not gonna lie, it's clear to anyone with eyes that Ditto is clearly trying to help, but just not thinking it all the way through and causing more problems in the process. I'm surprised they haven't recognised that. Liko excitedly tells Dot that Mini Nidothing has gone viral online. The world absolutely loved it on her live stream, they want more Mini Nidothing. So I guess you could say Mini Nidothing just broke the internet in the words of one of my videos. Maybe in the words of this video, depending on what I title it. Hehehe, that's giving me an idea, man. Anyway, Nidothing has been invited to perform at a bread festival, since their Nidothing bread is one of their specialties, their fan favourites. And dude, I hope that Dot is getting a cut of the profits from that. It's her likeness that they're selling in food form. She should be making bread off of that, man. Pun absolutely intended. Liko loves the idea of Nidothing and Mini Nidothing attending way more than Dot does, but eventually she's persuaded by her Pokemon. Dot finds it hard to rehearse with Mini Nidothing, while Liko is just fangirling like crazy, so much so that Meowscarada has to keep trying to block her view. She has to save some excitement for the performance at the bread festival, but yeah dude, this episode really is one for the LikoDot shippers. I know they're gonna devour this like bread. What our heroes notice though is that every time Ditto laughs, like when Ult is breaking it down, Ditto untransforms, so it needs to make sure that doesn't happen on stage. At the bread festival the next day, our heroes just casually walk around with Nidothing like it's no biggie at all, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty confused by this, because how are the Rising Voltaclers known worldwide, so much so that they have admirers, but then they can just walk around in public with Nidothing, and nobody puts two and two together that Dot is missing, and so Dot is clearly Nidothing. Not to mention Dot walking around later in the episode openly with her Pokemon out, right in front of supposed Nidothing superfans. Her Pokemon are online stars too. Nidothing fans love them. So you're telling me Nidothing superfans don't recognise Dot and Nidothing's Pokemon and put two and two together that Dot is Nidothing? At a festival featuring Nidothing? I don't know, man. I feel like the writers kinda want to have their cake and eat it, or have their bread and eat it. They want Nidothing and her Pokemon to be celebrities, and they want the Rising Voltaclers to be well known too, but then they still want to maintain this faceless, hidden identity Nidothing and Dot storyline. It contradicts itself really bad and feels kinda goofy. I would love to see that explored in a proper episode, maybe some people figuring out that Nidothing is Dot by recognising her Pokemon or recognising the Rising Voltaclers with her. There would be some really fun hijinks that ensue based on that. It would be a great episode that would be interesting development for Dot's character. I mean, to be fair, I feel like the whole Dot secretly being Nidothing storyline hasn't made much sense in a good while, because Chaos literally found out Dot and Nidothing are the same person way back in episode 44, but for some reason Chaos never outed her or used it against her publicly, despite her being a main villain. But it definitely gets more and more egregious the more popular our heroes get. But hey, then again, this is the same general public that ate up Spinel's Strong Spheres, so maybe they're just too stupid to put two and two together, even when it's right in front of their faces. Anyway, this bread clown is the festival's owner, along with his little bread doggos, and I feel like this episode would have been a really good one to briefly bring back Liko's dad and his Fido, or even that idiot trainer from my most hated list, the one who looks like Kara Undertale, to see how he's getting on with the dash bun that he abused. They would have been fun to see since it's a bread festival. Heck, I even would have loved to have seen that Nidothing stan again. I think her name is Litten Smitten in the dub, since Nidothing is a big part of the festival. She was even the first one to come up with the concept of a mini Nidothing, so that could have made made for some really funny interactions. Bringing back other characters would have made the episode feel more interesting to me. But hey, at least we got to see a ton of really unique food items in the Pokemon world, based around bread and different Pokemon. I wish they made some of these in our world, man. That Voltorb pizza especially looks mad good. A little boy is sad that there's no Sandaconda breads left, so Ditto transforms into one. As always, Ditto clearly just wants to help, but also as always he doesn't think it through, because he's about to be eaten, dude. Ditto flees for his life and continues transforming into different things around the festival to help people, while our heroes desperately try and find him in time for the Nidothing performance. Time is running out, so our heroes realise the only way to make Ditto reveal himself is to make him laugh, so they all do what they did earlier in the episode to make him laugh, and it works. You know, I really like how they brought back that jokey scene from earlier to make it relevant to solving the problem. That's a pretty fun character trait. Anyway, Nidothing begins performing for all of her fans, but all the fans are just complaining that Mini Nidothing isn't there. Bro, imagine building up your streaming career and fanbase for years just for your fans to complain that they want to see your mini rip-off version instead. I'd be fuming if I was Dot. But also, Mini Nidothing is so cute that I can't blame the fans. I would want to see it in person too. Luckily, Mini Nidothing then appears, making the fans go crazy, and hey, I guess Dot just has to perform with Ditto every time from now on. If anything, I'm glad the little guy had a big impact. And yeah, seeing Mini Nidothing on stage, that's when Roy realises that Ditto wasn't just pranking people, it was trying to help people, transforming into whatever they need to cheer them up when they're having troubles. And man, I have some thoughts about this. First of all, I feel like this was extremely obvious from the very beginning. I'm surprised it took our heroes so long to pick up on it. And second of all, I really do wish it was Liko who realised this about Ditto. It's like the writers have forgotten that Liko's entire goal was to understand the feelings of Pokemon. So having Liko being the one who realises why Ditto was acting this way, it would have fit her character really well. It would show that she is still capable of understanding Pokemon below the surface. It was an easy opportunity to reinforce her dream in that way. It's a shame how such a small change could have made it feel so much better. That night, the Rise and Volt tacklers enjoy some Nidothing bread, but just like that Blaziken from Pokemon Journeys who couldn't bear to eat the adorable Torchic nuggets, Liko doesn't have it in her to eat the adorable Nidothing bread. She just loves Nidothing too much, but Meowscarada certainly doesn't. Okay, so overall, I have a lot of thoughts about this episode. I want to make it clear, first of all, that just as a fun episode to watch, this one was successful. It was cute, quirky, entertaining, hilarious, and I always love seeing our heroes in a lighthearted manner like this. They deserve it after all they've been through. It wasn't a bad episode by any means, I enjoyed it, but I also can't help but feel like the episode could have been so much better, man. It had some problems. To me, this felt like the first episode of the Wonder Voyage arc that didn't feel very special or even necessary. The other 3 episodes before this, while having a similar lighthearted tone, they still felt like they established something for the arc's plot. They still felt like they pushed the characters forwards in interesting ways. They felt unique enough to justify their existence. But today's episode didn't really feel as strong in that way for me. Of course, I loved the comedy and the lightheartedness and the Mini Nidothing shenanigans, but I think the episode could have done all of that while also doing more, you know? After all, we already knew from the previous episode that Ditto likes to transform to help people, like it did to save Liko's sculpture, and I love that character trait, it's so fun for a Ditto, but it was made clear last episode, you know? So I think a lot of the realizations and shenanigans in this episode, they could have easily been combined with and portrayed in the previous episode instead. And then for a Nidothing and Mini Nidothing episode here, we could have done something a bit more interesting, like maybe bringing in some of the other streamer characters from the past, or doing something with Dot's identity being revealed because of Mini Nidothing, or even progressing Dot's personal goal to be the #1 streamer or whatever. It still could have been a lighthearted episode, but just a lighthearted episode that felt more important, one that pushed the characters forwards more, rather than feeling like a bit of a repeat of things we've already seen. I will also say that I think this episode missed a huge opportunity to be the funniest crossover in the entire Pokemon anime. A crossover with Pokemon Pan. For those who don't know, Pokemon Pan is a bread product in Japan that's existed for nearly 30 years, and it's always been featured in the funniest ad breaks of all time during Pokemon episodes. It's become a bit of a recurring meme in the fanbase because of how catchy and hilarious the adverts are, so they should have done a crossover with Pokemon Pan officially. This was literally a bread festival, and Pokemon Pan is literally bread. I mean, I guess maybe it was kind of like a low-key crossover, but I would have loved to have seen them really commit to the bit, you know, and properly make this a Pokemon Pan crossover. Seeing our heroes singing the Pokemon Pan theme song would have been the funniest thing the episode could have possibly did. Sadly, it didn't happen. So yeah, overall, I would say this episode was a fun one. I loved Mini Nidothing, I loved all of the Ditto shenanigans, seeing the Pokemon bread products was fun, and I always love to see our characters in a lighthearted manner, but I do also think it was a bit of an underwhelming one. It could have been way more interesting while keeping that lighthearted tone. I think if they combined some of the elements of this one with the previous episode to give themselves more time in today's episode to do something more unique, then it could have made today's episode stand out a lot more. I think Dot and Nidothing could have shined more here, you know? But it wasn't a bad episode by any means. So let me know your thoughts on today's episode below, and be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Come join our Discord server using the link in the description, and thank you so much to all of my incredible channel members on screen right now. That includes Juscadia, Not Mini, Hope, J, Toten. You guys are the goats, I really appreciate you. And on that note, thank you all so much for watching, and best wishes until we meet again!